The morning sunlight filters through the curtains, casting a soft glow over the cluttered living room where I've set up my makeshift workspace. Papers litter the coffee table, and my laptop hums softly as I furiously type away, trying to meet yet another looming deadline. "Samantha, had you had breakfast yet?" My mother's voice interrupts my concentration, pulling me out of the zone. I glance up from my laptop to see her standing in the doorway, a worried expression etched on her face. "Not yet, Mom. I'll grab something in a bit. I just need to finish this report first." She sighs, her gaze lingering on the stack of unpaid bills scattered across the table. "You're always working, Samantha. It's not healthy." I force a smile, trying to reassure her. "I know, Mom, but I have deadlines to meet. Besides, someone has to make sure we can pay these bills." Her brow furrows in concern as she crosses the room to stand beside me. "But you shouldn't have to carry this burden alone, dear. Your father and I will find a way to help." I shake my head, feeling the weight of responsibility pressing down on my shoulders. "It's okay, Mom. I've got it under control. Just focus on taking care of Dad." "But what about your own needs, Samantha? You deserve to have a life outside of work." Her voice is filled with genuine concern, but I can hear the underlying worry. "I know, Mom," I reply, trying to keep my tone light. "But right now, work is my priority. Once things settle down, I'll make time for myself." She gives me a skeptical look but doesn't press the issue further. Instead, she leans down to plant a kiss on my forehead before retreating to the kitchen. As I turn back to my laptop, I can't shake the feeling of guilt that gnaws at me. Despite my best efforts to reassure her, I know that my mother will continue to worry about me. But for now, I have deadlines to meet and bills to pay, and there's no room for hesitation or doubt. The dim glow of my laptop screen casts a soft light in the otherwise dark room as I sit hunched over my desk, scrolling through emails from clients and juggling multiple project deadlines. With each passing minute, the weight of responsibility seems to grow heavier on my shoulders. I glance over at the stack of bills piled high in the corner of my desk, a constant reminder of the financial obligations I bear for my family. It's been this way ever since my father fell ill and had to retire early, leaving us scrambling to make ends meet on his pension alone. "Samantha, can you come here for a moment?" My mother's voice interrupts my thoughts, pulling me out of my reverie. I sigh and push back from my desk, bracing myself for yet another conversation about my unconventional career choice. "What is it, Mom?" I asked, steeling myself for the inevitable lecture. My mother looks at me with a furrowed brow, concern etched into the lines of her face. "I just don't understand why you insist on working from home," she says, her tone tinged with frustration. "You're a smart girl, Samantha. You could easily find a job in an office like everyone else." I bite back a retort, knowing that arguing with her is futile. "I've explained this to you countless times, Mom," I say, forcing a calm tone. "Working remotely allows me to be more flexible with my schedule and take care of Dad." My mother shakes her head, unconvinced. "But for how long, Samantha? How long can you keep this up?" she asks, her voice tinged with worry. I swallow the lump forming in my throat, the weight of her words hitting me like a ton of bricks. How long indeed? The atmosphere in our once peaceful home shifts the moment my brother Kevin and his wife, Mary, announce their unexpected arrival. My mother's face lights up with joy at the prospect of having them under our roof, but I can't shake the sense of dread that settles in the pit of my stomach. "Surprise!" Kevin announces with a grin, his arm wrapped around Mary's waist as they step through the front door. My mother rushes forward to embrace them, her excitement palpable. "Oh, it's so wonderful to see you both. Come in, come in. Make yourselves at home." I watch from the sidelines, feeling like an outsider in my own home as my brother and his wife settle into their newfound accommodations. "Isn't this great, Samantha?" my mother asks, turning to me with a hopeful smile. "Now we can all be together as a family." I force a smile of my own, though my heart feels heavy with apprehension. "Yes, Mom. It's great," I reply, my words dripping with forced enthusiasm. As the days pass, tensions begin to simmer beneath the surface, fueled by the strain of living in such close quarters. My brother and his wife seem oblivious to the disruption they've caused, while I struggle to maintain a facade of normalcy. "Samantha, could you pass the salt?" Mary asks one evening at dinner, her tone polite but distant. I hand her the salt shaker with a tight-lipped smile, doing my best to conceal my irritation. "Of course," I reply through gritted teeth. Kevin shoots me a knowing look from across the table, a smirk playing at the corners of his lips. "Thanks, sis. You're a real lifesaver," he says, his words laced with sarcasm. I bite back a retort, knowing that it's pointless to engage in a battle of wits with my brother. Instead, I focus on pushing my food around my plate, my appetite soared by the palpable tension in the air. The tension in the house reaches its breaking point as the days wear on, each passing moment feeling more suffocating than the last. I can no longer bear the constant friction between myself, my brother, and his wife. It's clear that something needs to change. Late one night, as I sit alone in my room, the weight of my decision settles over me like a heavy blanket. With trembling hands, I reach for my phone and begin to draft a message to my family. I can't do this anymore, I type, my fingers flying across the screen. I need to leave. Tears blur my vision as I hit send, knowing that this choice will change the course of my life forever. But deep down, I know it's the right thing to do. Within moments, my phone lights up with notifications. My family reacts to my sudden announcement. My mother's frantic calls go unanswered as I steel myself for the inevitable confrontation that awaits. "Samantha, what is this?" my mother demands, her voice trembling with disbelief as she bursts into my room. I take a deep breath, summoning the courage to face her wrath. "I'm leaving, Mom," I say, my voice steady despite the turmoil raging inside me. My mother's eyes widen with shock, her hands trembling as she clutches the doorframe for support. "You can't be serious," she whispers, her voice barely above a whisper. "I am," I reply, my tone resolute. "I need to do this for myself, for my own sanity." My mother's face crumples with emotion as she reaches out to grasp my hand. "But what about us, Samantha? What about your family?" I squeeze her hand gently, my heart aching with the weight of her words. "I'll still be here for you, Mom, but I need to live my own life on my own terms." As my mother's sobs fill the room, I realize that this decision will hurt us both. But in the end, it's the only way forward. With my decision to leave home looming over me, I realize that I need to find a way to shift the burden of our household expenses onto my brother and mother. It's a daunting task, but one that I know is necessary for my own survival. Gathering my resolve, I sit down at my desk and begin to formulate a plan. With careful precision, I transfer funds from the accounts linked to my mother's credit card and my father's pension, redirecting them to my own control. As I complete the transactions, a sense of relief washes over me. For the first time in years, I feel a glimmer of hope that I might finally be able to break free from the cycle of financial dependency that has bound me to my family for so long. The next morning, I present my mother with a new main card for her expenses and a supplementary card for her use. "From now on, you'll be using this card," I explain, my voice steady despite the nerves churning in my stomach. My mother eyes the cards warily, suspicion flickering in her gaze. "Why the sudden change?" she asks, her tone guarded. I force a smile, doing my best to appear casual. "I just thought it would be easier this way," I reply, my words carefully chosen. My mother nods, though I can tell she's not entirely convinced. "Well, if you think it's best," she says, her voice trailing off uncertainly. As the days pass, I watch from a distance as my brother and mother struggle to adjust to their new financial reality. It's a bittersweet sight, knowing that I've finally been able to free myself from the burden of responsibility that has weighed me down for so long. As I settle into my new life, I can't shake the feeling that my decision to leave home has set a chain of events into motion that I can't control. From a distance, I watch as the repercussions of my departure ripple through my family, leaving chaos in their wake. One evening, I receive a call from my brother, his voice urgent and strained on the other end of the line. "Samantha, we need to talk," he says, his words clipped with tension. I brace myself for what comes next, knowing that this conversation will be anything but easy. "What's wrong, Kevin?" I ask, my heart pounding my chest. "It's about Mom and Dad," he replies, his voice heavy with emotion. "Things have gotten complicated." I listen in silence as Kevin recounts the struggles my family has faced in my absence, the mounting bills, the strained relationships, the overwhelming sense of uncertainty that hangs over their heads like a dark cloud. "I don't know what to do, Samantha," Kevin admits, his voice breaking with emotion. "I thought I could handle this on my own, but I was wrong." I take a deep breath, the weight of his words settling over me like a heavy blanket. "I'll help in any way I can," I say, my voice firm with determination. "But you need to understand that I can't fix everything." Kevin falls silent on the other end of the line, his breathing ragged with emotion. "I know," he finally admits, his voice barely above a whisper, "but I don't know where else to turn." As I hang up the phone, I realize that my family's struggles are far from over, but for the first time in a long time, I feel a glimmer of hope that maybe, just maybe, we'll be able to weather this storm together. With each passing day, I find myself settling into my new life with a sense of quiet contentment. Free from the constant turmoil of my family's struggles, I begin to rediscover a sense of peace that I thought I had lost forever. One afternoon, as I sit at my desk, absorbed in my work, I receive a surprise visitor, my father. His face is drawn with exhaustion, but his eyes shine with an unmistakable warmth as he crosses the room to embrace me. "It's good to see you, Dad," I say, returning his embrace with a sense of gratitude that fills my heart to overflowing. "It's good to see you too, Samantha," he replies, his voice soft with emotion. "I've missed you." As we sit together, reminiscing about old times and sharing stories from our respective lives, I can't help but feel a sense of peace wash over me. In this moment, surrounded by the warmth of my father's love, I realize that everything will be okay. "Thank you for coming, Dad," I say, my voice choked with emotion. "It means the world to me." My father smiles, his eyes twinkling with pride. "I'll always be here for you, Samantha," he says, his words a soothing balm to my weary soul. As he rises to leave, I watch him go with a sense of gratitude that fills me with a newfound sense of purpose. No matter what the future may hold, I know that I will always have my father by my side. I hope you enjoyed it. Subscribe so you don't miss the new videos.